Well, hello everybody. I'm glad you found the channel. I'm Ed, and this is Dedicating Time. I have been a watch nut since I was a kid in the 70s growing up. I suppose the digital age, little Casios and things like that. I became a bit more serious as a collector in the early 90s when my parents kindly gave me Breitling Aerospace, a titanium one, for my 21st birthday. I'm not new to YouTube. I have an automotive channel. And unlike Nico, who went from watches to automotive, I've gone the other way around. So I've been doing YouTube for about 5 years now, but I have a real passion for watches. So the whole format of kind of the proceedings here are the simple fact that I'm going to deep dive into a subject, and then we're going to go on to a kind of a watch radar, something kind of related or maybe a little bit of a curveball at the very end. So two birds, one stone. If it's the sort of thing that you like, please do. It's a new channel. Every subscriber helps, as they say. And I'm really excited to be doing this. So this is a community. I want to build a watch community on the channel. I learn a lot from others. Hopefully you learn a little bit from me. And I thought today we will explore the kind of the green evolution, Kermit, Hulk, Starbucks or Cermit, and then look at the kind of the Sprite, the new GMT-Master II that was released in 2025. So whilst today is about Hulks and the likes, which I've owned this one for 11 years, it's easily the kind of the most, I suppose, expensive stroke valuable watch in my collection. I have various other bits and pieces, very kind of swayed towards aviation. And I suppose James Bond as well, because I was a big fan growing up, and the gadgets and the watches there. The aviation side is the simple fact that I started my flying training with that Breitling Aerospace back in 1992 with Aer Lingus, the national carrier. I've moved on since, but at the end of the day, I'm a long-haul captain flying all over the world. So you know what? This keeps me busy, keeps me entertained, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So let's get straight into this and talk about the green evolution. There's just something about green and Rolex that just works. Even the logo, the green in the logo, is supposed to represent money. From the 50th anniversary Kermit back in 2003, 1953 was the introduction of the Rolex Submariner. They launched that through the Kermit to the Hulk in its 3 generations. We'll talk about the differences as we go. And then on to the Starbucks or the Cermit. This trio tells the story of a decade of transformation, not just in color, but in design, materials, and the very soul of the Submariner. Today we're diving deep into what changed, why it mattered, and how these watches marked a turning point in Rolex history. Before the greens took over, though, we had the Submariner 16610, the last of the classic 5-digit subs, debuted in 1989. In 1988, we saw the legendary 3135 caliber movement introduced into that, and likewise, when we get on to the Cermit, we go to the 3235, but it was a workhorse back then, appeared in most Rolexes of the era, and it defined Rolex reliability for over 30 years. The 16610 had aluminium bezel insert, hollow end links, and a stamped clasp. They were kind of hallmarks of the tool watch heritage. It was slimmer, lighter, and arguably more understated, but by the early 2000s, Rolex was ready for change, moving towards luxury refinement with solid links, ceramic bezels. So enter the Kermit then in 2003 to celebrate the Submariner's 50th anniversary. The reference is 16610LV. It combines the old and the new, kept the 3135 movement and the case, but introduced a green aluminium bezel insert. if you've ever seen a beautifully faded Kermit, it's a thing to behold. Please, for those of you that own them, never, never replace the bezel insert. Scratch it, do whatever you like, but don't ever replace it. It tells a story of the watch. So besides the aluminium bezel insert and a new maxi dial with the larger kind of 5-minute markers on this, collectors were divided. Some loved the splash of the green and others thought Rolex had gone mad. But with hindsight, the Kermit bridged that vintage and modern world perfectly. It was still that slim, classic Submariner, but with a bold, celebratory twist. Then in 2010, Rolex turned up the volume. The Submariner 116610LV, nicknamed the Hulk, marked the full arrival of the modern sub. Gone was the aluminium bezel. In came Rolex's Cerachrom, a virtually scratch-proof, fade-resistant ceramic. The case was thicker, broad, squared-off lugs, not to everyone's taste though. The dial was sunburst green, shimmering from emerald to almost golden hues depending on the light. Rolex used powdered 24-karat gold into the lacquer over the brass dial in this thing. And I have no reason to believe that it's anything other than that. Inside of the Hulk here was still the 3135, but the watch feels completely new compared to the 16610. It's bolder, it's heavier, dare I say it, more luxurious than the kind of workhorse that the 16610 was. And the Hulk divided opinion even more than the Kermit. Some called it too flashy, others fell in love, and it spoke to me in a way that as an Irishman, the green stood out to me. The background story behind this watch is I had no intention of buying one. I didn't even know they existed. I was on holiday with my now wife in Santorini. Walked by a place called Pony Ross. I think they were based in Athens, but had an outlet in Santorini. We were walking the coastal path, and my wife had a credit card for ice cream, etc. And I had none. This was in the window, and it spoke to me, called out my name, and I just had to go in and say hello and find out a little bit more. I knew about the Kermit, but I'd never seen a green dial on a Rolex before, not one of this kind of caliber. And we went in and had a chat, and I fell in love instantly, I have to say. I asked the salesperson, what it was. I ended up paying €6,800 for that back in 2014. This is actually a Mark II Hulk. Let's get into that. So Mark 1, 2, and 3. The Mark 1 is easily identifiable because the equals is to the left of the C below in chronometer. There's a space between the 300 and the M in meters. That was 2010 to 2012. So 2013 to 2015, you've got the Mark II. The equals and the C are directly on top of each other. There is still a space between the 300 and the M, and identifiable, the 1 in the 1000 has got a little tick like the Mark 1 in the number 1. Mark III then from 2016 to 2020, it does not have a space between the 300 and the M. The equals and the C are still in line. And if you look at the 1 in 1000, it does not have a little tick at the top of the 1. So after the Hulk was discontinued in 2020, it then became one of the most sought-after modern Rolexes ever made, selling for well over premiums. Unlike the black version, it only commanded a £300 difference really at retail between the black sub. The LV then was elevated into kind of COVID status when they were selling for, you know, 15 and 20,000 pounds. It's ridiculous when you think that it's probably 2 or 3 times what the original retail value was. In 2020, though, Rolex unveiled a completely refreshed Submariner. They brought the green bezel back, and this time paired again with a black dial. So it's known as the Cermit, the ceramic Kermit, as it were. So the green bezel, the black dial, and collectors quickly dubbed it also the Starbucks. But, you know, at the end of the day, Cermit kind of rings true with me. So under the hood, they used the incoming 32-35 movement. Not unlike its predecessor, it had thinner barrel linings and a longer spring as a result, upped the kind of the escapement, the power reserve from about 48 or 50 hours in the 31-35 to about 70 hours. It had a redesigned gear train for efficiency, up about 15% or thereabouts. And the case shape was refined too. So away from the square lugs, it had slimmer lugs, more balanced proportions, and a slightly larger, they say 41 millimeter case. In fact, it's 40.5, where the original is 40.3. So people say it's up 1 millimeter, kind of makes it a bit more balanced with the maxi dial. However, it's only 0.2 millimeters bigger than the 116610. So there you have it, kind of deep dive in the evolution of green. So now we want to move on to kind of the watch radar, a different little segment where we kind of want to take a quick look at what's on my watch radar right now. So Rolex hasn't stopped playing with green dials. In 2025, they introduced a green dial GMT-Master II, a fresh nod at an iconic green legacy, but in a traveler's watch. It's one of the few green dials that you can find in the current Rolex lineup, and it really stands out. Whilst the Submariner evolved through shades of green over a decade, the GMT-Master II is bringing that colour into the world of multi-time zone functionality. So if you're a fan of the Hulk or Kermit or looking for that same green spirit in a different Rolex model, then this new GMT might be the modern interpretation to keep on your radar. So the Sprite, as it's being dubbed, has a 50-50 ceramic green and black bezel. It's got a Cerachrom ceramic dial as well, over brass, and it's a thing to behold. It's for lefties, so it's got the crown at the 9 o'clock position. It's only available in white gold. That's the kicker. And in the UK, it retails at about £40,000. So whilst I'd love to add one to my collection, being an airline pilot, a GMT function is always a great thing to have. You know what, let's face it, folks, I can't stretch to 40 grand, not in one watch anyway. So what do you think of the first video? I'm into photography, I'm into cinematography. Hopefully the B-roll speaks for itself. So at the end of the day, I really, really hope that you've liked this. And if you have, do a like. But more importantly to me, leave a comment. Do you like the format? A deep dive and then a little bit of a watch radar for something a little bit different. Maybe next time we'll delve into bronze watches, of which I've got a Tudor Black Bay 58 bronze, and it seems to be the theme, certainly, of the last few years. But at the end of the day, if you want to see that, if you want to be notified, it's really, really difficult, I know, these days on the old algorithm. But if you subscribe and hit the bell, it really, really helps me, or helps you find me on your YouTube subscribers. So with that, thanks for watching, and thanks for dedicating a little time to this channel and to me. Until the next time, all the best now. Bye-bye.